Hey, what's going on, guys? What's happening? YouTube, you guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels, and I got some huge news for you guys today. This is interesting news both from an e-commerce standpoint as well as a stock market or an investing standpoint. And I guess we'll just come out with the news right away. So Affirm, a buy now, pay later service. Some of you guys may be familiar with them. Maybe you're more familiar with a name like Sezzle or Klarna, but essentially it's the same type of service. They have recently partnered with Amazon. Amazon will now be offering buy now, pay later through Affirm. And once this became public, once this was announced, Affirm shares nearly doubled in price. If you go look at the Affirm stock chart right now, on I think it was August 30th or Monday, whatever, it's just a straight line up. And I don't know if you guys watched a video I did a couple weeks ago, probably 2-3 weeks back. I did a video, I think it was titled something to the effect of the buy now, pay later industry is exploding or something like that. And in that video, I said you might want to look at some of these buy now, pay later stocks because, this business has already exploded in the past year over the beer cough, but it's only going to continue to grow larger. And I really wasn't expecting this news, but Amazon has partnered with Affirm. And what's also kind of interesting about this, normally Amazon kind of likes to own and control everything about their business. Normally Amazon would buy a company like Affirm as opposed to just partnering with them. Although the way Amazon typically does their deals, they normally do either make the company turn over some of the company to Amazon, or they have something written into the contract where they're able to buy stock at a lower price later on down the line. But this is big. If you guys are Amazon sellers and you sell high ticket items, this allows a lot more people to buy your items and pay over time as opposed to having to pay for it right away. Like I said, in the video we did a couple weeks ago, I mentioned you might want to look at these stocks and, I didn't know which one to pick. I wound up putting money into a couple of them, and Affirm really, really popped. I was looking at some of these other buy now, pay later stocks, and Sezzle is another one that's on my radar. I actually use Sezzle for a couple e-commerce stores that I manage, a couple Shopify stores that I manage. Sezzle for the longest time was kind of leading this industry, had kind of the best name recognition. Pretty much every company in this industry claims that they have the highest approval rates and, the best conversion rates and things like that. So not really sure who to believe. I use Sezzle. It's, for me, been the most streamlined. I started using it, so I've just kind of stuck with them. Although it seems like Afterpay and a lot of these other companies are kind of popping up, and I think maybe Affirm will wind up being the biggest player or the biggest name in this space. It does look like this space is going to face some regulation since, the financial industry as a whole is pretty heavily regulated, and the regulations around buy now, pay later are kind of loose. I was recently at IRCE in Chicago. I don't know if you guys want to hear about that or not. We could do that in another video. It was just kind of interesting. I saw an article the other day talking about how most marketing professionals don't want to return to conferences and seminars for at least another year or two. It was kind of interesting that Chicago wound up having IRCE, the Internet Retail, or I guess now they're calling it Retail X, but it's basically an e-commerce and retail conference, and it's pretty much the first big marketing or e-commerce conference that's gone on since the pandemic. But it's kind of interesting being at that, much more scaled down and much smaller than previous years. But a lot of these buy now, pay later services were there. There were actually a lot of interesting services that I've been meaning to talk about. There was a couple interesting services that had a different spin on returns. Basically, if you accept returns, instead of taking the item back into your own shop and, if it's open or used, you might not be able to sell it. There are liquidation companies which will basically you give your customers their address, your customers send their returns back to that company, and they don't pay a lot, that company will pay you for your return, so you're not worried about having to, now I got to waste my time and resources trying to sell this used item or open box item on eBay. Thought that was an interesting service. I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but a lot of interesting kind of e-commerce and retail services, apps, companies. And if you guys would like to hear about some of those, let me know. I'll go through kind of some of the business cards I received and kind of go through the catalog from the conference and kind of talk about some of these interesting companies that may be useful for your business. But getting too off topic, so without further ado, let's get into this article. This one comes to us from CNN. Affirm shares pop after striking buy now, pay later deal with Amazon. Okay, and I'm going to sidetrack one more time. So Sezzle is an Australian company. They were initially kind of the leader in the space. A lot of other companies seem to be kind of catching up with them. But if you look at their stock back in February was at, I don't know, $10, $11, $12, something like that. It's down to about $6.80. Australia as a country is kind of crazy right now. If you kind of look what they're doing with lockdowns and kind of how they're treating people's personal freedom, it's looking a little bit more like China or North Korea than, you know, the freedom-loving country we thought Australia was. So that makes me a little bit hesitant to invest in an Australian company. But seeing how much the Sezzle stock is down, but also seeing how many e-commerce stores I see using Sezzle, I think that stock in the long run will wind up doing well. So that's another stock that I'm eyeing. Might be something you might want to look into. But again, without further ado, let's get into the article. Shares of Affirm Holdings, the recently public fintech company, soared more than 40% on Monday morning following news that it is partnering with Amazon to roll out its buy now, pay later function for some purchases over $50. By partnering with Amazon, we're bringing the transparency, predictability, and affordability that Affirm provides today to millions of people who shop on Amazon in the U.S., Eric Morse, Senior Vice President of Sales at Affirm, said in a press release. And I don't know if Amazon ever offered their own financing. I know Amazon's got a credit card and tries to get you to sign up for a bunch of credit cards. Rather than kind of dealing with all the regulation of the payment space, rather than, kind of veering away from kind of what Amazon is all about, they're just going to give this to a third party, let them deal with all the headaches, and I'm sure Amazon also gets a kickback of the percentage that people are making. Plus, I've been using buy now, pay later services on Shopify stores that I run for a long time, and it raises the average ticket price of transactions, it raises conversion rates, so more people are going to shop at Amazon, more people are going to convert on Amazon, and people are going to spend more money on Amazon. So this is a good thing for Amazon on a couple different fronts. The company's also said in a press release that they are rolling out the program to some Amazon shoppers now, but that over the next few months, Amazon plans to make Affirm more broadly available to its customers. Affirm, which went public in January, is led by CEO and founder Max Levchin, who is also co-founder of PayPal. The stock nearly doubled from its offering price of $49 on its first day of trading and hit, excuse me, and hit a peak of about $146 in February before tumbling back to earth. Shares now traded around $96 following Monday's pop. Affirm is a leader in the buy now, pay later era of e-commerce, but there's a lot of competition. Levchin's old firm PayPal is dipping its toe into the sector. PayPal rival Square recently announced $29 billion acquisition of Australian firm Afterpay for $29 billion. There's also Klarna, a Swedish startup currently valued at nearly $46 billion that makes it the world's fourth most valuable privately owned unicorn, according to CB Insights. Klarna trails only Chinese stock TikTok, owner ByteDance, payment processing firm Stripe, and Elon Musk's SpaceX. Affirm is now worth about $25 billion. So I thought this story was interesting, both because it involves e-commerce and investing. I know a lot of you guys are interested in both of those things. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below, ring the bell, all that good jazz, and we'll catch you on the next video.